Hey, what is going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So we're gonna look at some new fragrance releases. We're gonna look at the new Maison Kurkdjian APOM, or A Part of Me, and we're gonna look at the two new creeds that were recently released. That's gonna be Centaurus and Delphinus. With APOM, and well, really all three of these, I actually don't really know that much about them. I have gotten my nose on APOM. I did yesterday. I have not smelled the creeds at all, but overall I don't really know much about these fragrances. And with APOM, it was a smelling day, so I had smelled tons of fragrances before that, so my nose was definitely a little bit fatigued, so I got a snapshot of what it is, but today I'll actually get to smell it kind of on its own and actually draw some conclusions, because it was quick. I got my nose on it quickly and then kind of moved on to other stuff. I didn't really get to kind of analyze it, so we're gonna do that for video today. And like I said, with the creeds, I didn't smell those at all. I could have, but I chose not to, just to save it for this video. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the Maison Kurkdjian release APOM, or A Part of Me. That's this one right here. We got the sample here. Now, this was a previous fragrance in the form of an homme and a femme fragrance. So this is not a re-release, it's a reimagining to an extent, because I'm guessing this is basically a unisex version, which is not really a surprise. I mean, most fragrance houses, particularly niche, are pretty much just releasing fragrances as unisex scents now. They're not really doing too much of the, oh, this one's for men and this one's for women. It's probably a cost-saving thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and get our nose on this. I don't know anything about the original ones. I never smelled them. So we're just gonna see what this is right here. But again, I got my nose on it yesterday, but I didn't really analyze it. I don't even remember what it smelled like, just because I smelled so much stuff. So let's see what we got here. Getting a nice spray on it. Okay, in there, all right. All right, so right off the bat, I'm getting some florals, getting a little bit of a brightness to it. Smell-wise, this does feel like it's maybe a little bit more suited for warmer weather, maybe spring or even early fall. There's definitely a little bit of sweetness in there. A little bit of a kind of slight powderiness, maybe a touch of spice, probably some vanilla. I bet you there's orange blossom in this. I'm getting that, a little bit of that orange blossom kind of feel. Maybe some jasmine, if there is jasmine. More creamy than anything, but almost getting a little bit of that indolic smell. Not overall, but it's like maybe a little bit of a rougher jasmine. It's a unisex release. Men can certainly wear this. I would say it probably suits women a little bit more, so it's a little bit more feminine leaning, in my opinion, at least off the strip. I don't know if I want to spray this on skin yet. I kind of wanted to save that for the creeds if I do. But it smells good. Overall, I can't say I'm blown away. I would say the quality is definitely there. I'd say it's a great smelling scent. Is it really unique? Not necessarily, but I mean, the fragrance in and of itself is not, original. There was original releases before it. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily one I would need to add. I don't think it's a bad fragrance. It's just, do I feel like I need this? Not at the moment, but it does smell good. Let's see what the notes are. Classification for the fragrance according to Parfumo is floral and fresh. I would say that's accurate. Okay, so we've got orange blossom, absolute. So yeah, that makes sense. Cedarwood, vanilla, white musk, labdanum, lavender, absolute, and ylang ylang. Okay, so yeah, musky. That makes sense. Yeah, vanilla. You can definitely pick up like a little bit of the hint of vanilla. I like it. I would say get your nose on it. It's not bad. It is not bad at all. I just don't know if I necessarily have to have it. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I'm not blown away by it. I just say it's a good release. It smells really nice. Obviously, other factors like performance and all that, I have no idea. I haven't tested it. Do I want to try it on skin? Not today. I got a sample of it. I will probably do it later because, that's a better picture of, what? Forget it. Let's just go for it. Yeah, let's just do it here. We'll do it here on my top of my wrist. Couple sprays there. Let that sit for a second and I'll be back. Okay, so a little bit of time has gone by, and what I can say is on skin, it's definitely still as fresh. You still have the floral element, but it's actually leaning a little bit more masculine on my skin. I think that lavender factor is really coming out a lot more on the skin, and so is the labdanum. So it's just It has the kind of floral, powdery nature to it, but it's not quite as feminine on my skin, at least. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but smelling it right now, it's definitely more unisex, and I would even say leaning slightly more masculine. Does this really change my feeling on if I need it or not? Not really. I still think it's like, you know, it's a kind of a, I could have it, but I don't feel like I have to go get it. So that's kind of my feeling right now. But this is nice. And yeah, I would say transitional fragrance, spring and fall, but more so on the floral side, so maybe a little bit more towards spring. It's an interesting scent. I don't know, man. I mean, I might need to just test this out one day. I might just need to get the full wearing experience, because I can't say that I have anything quite with this makeup, and nor have I really come across a floral fragrance quite with this makeup. Sort of. On strip, I feel like I have. On my skin, not so much. But you know what? It's a solid scent. I'd say it's a thumbs up. It's a good release. You know, Francis Kurkdjian does the fresher variety of fragrances like a master. You know, he's definitely one of the top dogs when it comes to that. And this is just another one. But you know what? This one is not, I don't want to use the word bland, but that's kind of what comes to mind with a lot of the releases we've been getting. They've just kind of been fresh, but nice, but you know, they're okay. This one actually has some depth to it on skin. You don't notice it so much on strip, or at least I don't. But this one actually has a little bit more depth to it. So I might have a later judgment on that. We'll see. But right now, I don't feel like I have to get it, but it's a good release. So once again, that is APOM, A Part of Me, from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. As far as I know, this is not fully released yet, but I might be wrong on that. But yeah, check it out. All right, guys, the next one we're gonna do is from Creed, and this is Centaurus. You know, there's nothing really to show on the sample thing other than the name on the back. So, but you know, here's the sample bottle. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. I know nothing about this fragrance. I don't have a clue as to what's in it. I just kind of didn't look at things because I wanted to just draw my own conclusions. So here we go. Thankfully we got some sprays off of it, but it definitely has some spice right off the bat. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so definitely cinnamon. I mean, yeah, there is definitely cinnamon in this. It's spicy, kind of woody. It kind of makes me think of the holidays a little bit. I don't know if it's, you know, a full-blown holiday style fragrance. This is definitely fall oriented in terms of just the DNA fragrance makeup. So yeah, spicy. I'm definitely getting cinnamon. I would say there's definitely probably some cedar wood or another kind of blonde, dry type of wood in here. Spicy, somewhat dry, but there's almost this slight juicy element. I can't tell what. Slight juicy element, you know, just kind of counterbalancing that dryness I'm getting. Getting a little bit of like a pine or a pine needle kind of feel. You know, maybe there's a resin in here giving that, because I don't know if there's just flat out pine in this. This is, only problem with this is I would say it's not necessarily innovative, but I do think it is something different from what I've ever experienced from Creed. And when I picked this up, from the Creed counter, actually it was the Creed representative that let me know she was holding on to these for me, so I went to go get them. And while I was there, I just kind of smelled like all the Creeds that were there. And you know, one thing is for sure, I don't know of a Creed fragrance that quite smells like this, so it's a different direction. There might also, could there be iris in this? I don't know if there's iris. There might be like some kind of floral element that's giving just a smoother kind of binding nature to the spice and wood in this. Let's look up the notes. All right, so I got the notes here for Centaurus. This is according to iFragrance. So, you know, we'll take it with a grain of salt. We don't know if this is 100% accurate or not, but look, they're listing smoky tobacco, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper, jasmine, heliotrope, geranium, sandalwood, patchouli, ambroxan, benzoin, tolu balsam, and bourbon vanilla. Okay, yeah. I mean, that all kind of lines up with what I'm getting here. And, you know, they said jasmine and heliotrope and geranium. I did say I was getting some kind of a floral element to this. So they actually list sandalwood, so not cedarwood. They actually list sandalwood. Okay. The ambroxan, bourbon, the benzo, that all kind of makes sense. Let's see what this smells like on skin. So I'm gonna spray this on my skin and then I'll be back. All right, so I got it on my skin here. It's been sitting here for about a minute. And smoky tobacco. I mean, I guess I could see that. I do get a little bit more of a tobacco element on my skin. I'm getting a little bit more of that leafy kind of tobacco feel. The cinnamon is still very dominant. I mean, it's very cinnamon heavy. I can understand cardamom being in there, but I'm experiencing it more like cinnamon, more than anything. Like I said, that kind of woodiness, it's got all these kind of resins and couple of woods and like patchouli listed. All of that really is kind of coming together just for me as a kind of dried, dusty, woody accord. You know, I'm not really getting like all those individual elements. It's all kind of coming together to make it have a woody element for me. And with spices and a little bit of tobacco. And like I said, that floral, just that combination of florals, it just seems like it's a binder between the spice and the wood. You can definitely sense it on skin. The vanillic aspect, they got vanilla, you know, there's a little bit of sweetness in there. It's just to kind of counter it, just to add a little bit another layer of depth to the fragrance. I wouldn't necessarily call it a sweet fragrance though. I wouldn't even call it a sweet tobacco fragrance. But yeah, definitely spicy, woody. Here's my thoughts on the scent. It is definitely something kind of outside of what Creed typically puts out. Well, it's not like Creed releases a ton of fragrances, but what they've got in their library thus far, at least that I've experienced, this one definitely is a step outside of that. Now, I don't know what this goes for, but you know what Creed prices are. What I would say is this that good to where I would be paying Creed-like prices, even at discounted rates for it? I don't know. I don't know if it's that good, because you can get a lot of fragrances like this. It's a spicy tobacco woody fragrance with a little bit of sweetness. That's not really a unique scent profile. There's tons of fragrances that give that. And is this so good? Is this so good that makes me think like, well, I have to add this one? I'm not sure. But it does smell good. Look, I said it in my video I just did about, you know, my top 10 houses, and I talked about Creed and how they don't put out bad quality scents. The quality is definitely there with this one. This is top quality stuff. It does give me a little bit of a Christmassy vibe, but it's definitely like fall scented fragrance, 100%. The timing of the release of this, I don't even know if you can buy them yet, but you know, obviously it's being pushed right now. You can get samples at Neiman Marcus and Bloomingdale's, as far as I know. It's a good scent. You know, it's kind of up to you if you want to get it, but I would say it's worth getting your nose on. It does smell good. If you're a fan of like spicy tobacco and slightly sweet fragrances with like a woody element to them, it's worth checking out. Like I said, you know, is it worth getting? Up to you to decide. Solid scent though. This is Centaurus from the House of Creed. Let's move on to the other one. All right, so the other Creed release is Delphinus. I'm not 100% sure how to say it. Got it right here. Again, nothing to really see with the sample card, so let's just go right into it. Hopefully I don't have a broken thing. I always worry about that. You guys worry about that like I do, getting a sample thing and it doesn't spray or doesn't work? Boy, I hate when that happens. All right, here we go. Now this one is an iris. Like right off the bat, you get iris. This, let's see, iris. Definitely a sweet element in there. Could be vanilla, could be tonka bean, could just be the iris itself. Almost has this kind of slight candied element. The iris, I would say, in nature is fresher. It's a fresher iris. A touch of that lipsticky nature, just a touch. I think they tried to counterbalance that kind of chalky, powdery, lipsticky feel you can get with iris. I feel like they put stuff in here to try to counter that. It's sweet, it's fresh. It's almost like a Creed version of a Dior Homme. And I'm not mad at it. I like this. Do I need to get it? I don't know, but I like it. That's the main thing I'm getting. Iris, a little bit of a sweet element. It's kind of like a sticky candied kind of element to it. There may be a little bit of musk in this. There may be something like sandalwood to ground it a bit. I would say it's, man, is this more of a masculine iris or feminine iris, or a little bit of both? Off the strip, just thinking about those Dior Homme iris fragrances, I'm saying masculine. But I'm gonna spray it on skin here in a minute. Let's see what the notes say, but that's 100% an iris fragrance. There's no denying that. Okay, so we got pink pepper, black pepper, incense, almond, orris, heliotrope, orchid, patchouli, tonka bean, yeah, that makes sense, amberwood, leather, bourbon, vanilla. Okay, yeah, all of those make sense to me. Yeah, on the strip, actually, let me spray it on skin. So let's stop trying to smell it on a strip. Let's spray it on skin, because you definitely get more, wow, you can barely tell what the sprayer is on this thing. All right, anyway. All right, got it on skin. Let me give it a second to sit there, and I'll be back. All right, so I got it on my skin now, and remember I was saying there was almost like a candy, fruity kind of smell? It's even stronger on my skin. It is interesting. And I'm kind of looking at the notes, Again, you know, you got to take the notes with a grain of salt. They don't necessarily represent what's in the fragrance. They just telling you what maybe you might smell from the scent. So actually the iris is taking a little bit more of a back seat on my skin, and I'm getting some of the other elements. Now they said incense. There's got to be like a gummy sweet kind of incense if that's the case in here. And the almond actually kind of makes sense. I'm getting kind of a nutty creaminess that sometimes you can get from almond. I actually kind of can understand that. Yeah, there's almost like this candied, sugary sweet kind of smell mixing with the iris in here. I would say it's a little bit more unisex on my skin. I don't feel it's as masculine. Quite a bit of tonka bean. I'd say there's quite a bit of tonka bean in here. And then they got vanilla as well listed. They said leatheriness. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I could see that. I can see a touch of leatheriness to this. Iris and leather does tend to work really well. This one here, if I was gonna pick between the two, in terms of what I may wanna add, I'm leaning slightly towards this one, Delphinus, which I just happen to see on the notes here. I'm reading it from iFragrance again. I guess it's based off of a constellation that kind of looks like a dolphin. So I'm guessing the other one has a similar kind of representation. But yeah, I kind of like this one better. Again, I'm not sure. Again, with Creed fragrances, you know what they're gonna cost, so you always have to kind of take that into consideration. Is it really worth having? But a lot of people certainly bought Absolute Aventus, so you know, I'm guessing it's not that big of a barrier if you really like the scent, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be. I'm slightly leaning a little bit more towards this one, because while this is iris, and there's obviously no shortage of iris fragrances on the market either, I do feel like this is giving me a little bit of a makeup I haven't quite smelled yet, or do I own already. I would even say, I still feel like the iris, they listed as Oris, I still feel like it has a little bit of similarity to the style of iris in a Dior Homme fragrance, but everything around it is definitely different from all of those Dior Homme fragrances. It's much more apparent on my skin, and I'm thinking about like the Gentleman line from Givenchy. I'm not getting that here. I'm thinking about like the Valentinos, which pretty much, you know, did their own version of Dior Homme on their own, so same thing. These are definitely different from what Creed has done before. I will have to give one criticism on both of these Creeds though. It does seem like they're maybe just trying to put out their own versions of something that almost, well, not every fragrance house, but a lot of fragrance houses do, where it's like, okay, we're gonna put out our version of an iris scent, we're gonna put out our version of a tobacco scent, and that's not inherently a bad thing, but when you do that, you do run the risk of, you know, just basically releasing another redundant fragrance. You can't really say it's a bold release or we tried to do something new. It's kind of hard to say that when those two fragrance styles are very prominent in the fragrance world. But I do think they did at least try to make it their own. And it is a different style DNA from what you typically would get from Creed. So, you know, that's kind of left up to you if you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts. Honestly, I would say all three of these are actually really good releases. Do I necessarily have to have them? None of them are making me think like I gotta add these right away. So, you know, I just need to look into them more, and hey, if they pop up for a really good price, that's a different story. I would add these. These are not fragrances I would just say I just absolutely don't need. If I had to rank them in terms of the three I've smelled, Delphinus, I think, is the one that's intriguing me the most. And then APOM, and then Centaurus, just because, yeah, I just feel like, you know, that's this right here, the Centaurus, you could get from a lot of different fragrances. Iris here, I would say I don't know, there's something about it that's making me think I don't really quite have that in my collection. And while it has that sweet nature, which you would think like, you know, okay, maybe it's more of a youthful fragrance, there's still a little bit of complexity and depth to the scent that I think is not, you know, like, oh, it's just another sweet Irish fragrance. I could be wrong, because I'm obviously smelling it with other stuff, so I'm getting a little bit of a skewed picture, but all three of these are really good in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below if you have checked these out, because like I said, should be able to, if you have the stores around you, you should be able to get your nose on them. Yeah, if you check these out, let me know what you think of them. I know reviewers are putting out their first impressions of these scents because, like I said, the samples are available now. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know if you do have these. Let me know what you think of them down below. I'd really look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. So thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you guys. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I'll see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.